Welcome back to Hometown Connections. Today, we're going to discuss solutions vetted by Hometown Connections. I'm your host, Annette DuPont Ewing. I'm the Director of Marketing for Hometown Connections Incorporated. And we're diving into a critical area of technology strategy that is defining the future of public power. For those new to the show, Hometown Connections is a trusted nonprofit utility service. Our mission is very simple: to provide guidance and access to innovative, industry-leading solutions that meet the unique needs of community-owned utilities. We thoroughly vet all of our partners, ensuring that they share the public power ethos and can deliver exceptional value. And that brings us to our fantastic guest today. We're absolutely thrilled to bring a cornerstone of the Hometown Connections family, a true expert who has been instrumental in helping municipal utilities make smart, future-proof decisions for decades. Joining us is the owner and utilities consultant for Katama Technologies, Mr. Greg Johnson. Welcome, Greg. We're genuinely happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much again.
You're more than welcome. We're so
appreciate your having us here. This is wonderful, and we look forward to the opportunity of talking with you today, and hope that it's a very insightful and useful discussion for everyone.
Oh, it will be. Greg is our expert in technology solutions, so we're really pleased that you're here. Thanks for your time today, Greg. So let's just jump into it. We know the immense value that KTI brings to our group, but for the listeners who might be facing a big technology upgrade right now, that can be daunting. So let's start with the fundamentals. What specific services does Katama Technologies offer, and what is your completely unbiased approach? How does that directly transmit into savings and success for municipal utilities?
Well, Annette, thank you so much again. And, KTI has been in business for over 20 years now, and we pride ourselves for being an unbiased technical resource serving as an advocate for our public power partners. We have a three-pronged approach to supporting the technology planning and investment activities of municipal public power in general. Our approach is a stepwise piece. Frankly, we have done all three of our phases in sequence. Sometimes people say, hey, yep, we've already done that phase one, we want phase two, and so forth, so on and so forth. So it's a bit of a what do you need and how do you get it? But if I could describe it from start to finish, just for the purpose of this podcast, our first phase is typically to start with a strategic technology planning phase in which we collaboratively develop a technology plan with a 5-year roadmap. And I need to stress, when we think of a technology plan for our clients, we consider everything. We don't look at it as just being this new widget or application system that they're buying. We think about it from a perspective of, hey, we're buying a new system to serve a purpose. But that new system that's serving a purpose is going to be used by people. It's going to have processes associated with it. The people that are going to need training to understand. There are stakeholders that expect, hey, if I'm spending this money, I know I want to get certain value out of it. The organization needs to be considered of how are we going to adopt this technology, and we want to make sure that the utility is going to be successful. And of course, we're not looking at a single technology when we look at the strategic technology plan. We're looking at prioritizing many. So maybe a new enterprise billing system and a software, an outage management system, or an AMI system. And so which one's first, where do they go, how do we make sure they're going to work? So that's our phase one, is to lay that out and have a solid foundation for what we will do in the next 5 years. The second prong of what we do is acquisition. So if a system has been identified as being needed, for this phase, we put the lessons together from phase one, and by that I mean We ensure that the systems are going to interoperate with the other utility applications they already have. If you put a new AMI system in, it's going to have to get billing data to the billing system and things of that nature. We need to make sure those things are going to happen, and that utility interoperability is a critical piece. And we need to make sure that all stakeholders' voices are heard with that, because as AMI becomes more effective and as enterprise systems become more effective and outage management and advanced distribution management systems become more common, then the integration, the interoperability are so important that we have to look at those pieces of the specification definitions and use cases and approaches are clear. So that's our second phase, is we help to make sure that a utility understands what they're getting, make sure it works the way the whole stakeholder community wants it to work. Right. And the piece of that we fit in also in that second phase is risk mitigation, risk identification and mitigation. We want to make sure that the utility keeps their risks minimized wherever possible. So that's an important element, and we bake that into that acquisition phase. And so the third phase is the implementation support. And in that case, now we're taking that system we've just acquired and now getting it operational. And getting it operational is, in our case, typically a Goldilocks approach. Some utilities want us to do everything. They want us to help manage the project manage the system from soup or cradle to grave. Right. Others say, no. Help us get started. We'll figure it out. But we do want you there as a stand-up for technology support or contract support. So we do that third phase in that Goldilocks approach and try and meet the needs of the utilities. But we also look at other things like process management and taking that new system and making sure that people use it properly, and change management is built in so that people don't get frightened by the new system. And so that's a typical piece of our third phase, is that implementation support and process management.
I really like the way you have an all-encompassing life cycle, start to finish, 3-phase program. That, to be honest, Mark, is one of the reasons that we trust KTI with technology and making critical decisions for municipal utilities. That's the whole package right there. So if you're looking across your extensive client base, what would you describe as the optimal utility size or the profile? What would be your sweet spot for a utility to get the most benefits from your deep expertise? Is there a certain size utility, a certain type of utility?
Right. Well, first of all, we try and serve the community that we are involved with, the public power agencies in any way we can. So most commonly for us, utilities from, say, 10,000 to 100,000 meters. And when I say that quantity, I mean combined electric, water. So it can be a multi-utility approach.
Right.
But 10,000 to 100,000 meters is typically the kind of a range where we do the strategic technology planning and some of the acquisition and implementations. If they're smaller than that, we do, and we have supported through the Joint Action Agency. So the Joint Action Agency can be kind of a buffer and a support arm to help us tailor targeted approaches where we might bring in multiple players and do a kind of a collaborative event to help them. Now, there are some systems like AMI where we get involved with utilities down to 2,000 meters. And so it depends on what phase we're talking about, but we try and support the public power community in any way we can. So our sweet spot may be that 10 to 100,000, but we try and reach others wherever we can.
And that's sort of the beauty of public power, right? We're in this together, and we're stronger together, and that's one of the things that you bring. You bring that support, that innovation, and that help when people need it. I mean, you could have 10 different vendors talking to you about a new technology, whereas you have the opportunity to say, I've looked at your system, and this is the best technology. And that's why Katama is unique and Katama is special, and why we find so much value in your business strategy. I'm going to switch gears on you for just a minute and talk about the KTI legacy and leadership. So, Greg, in your professional knowledge, it's built on a foundation that reaches over 40 years in the industry, and probably more if you combine your team. That's an incredible amount of institutional vision and expertise. So I know it takes a lot of courage to bring your own business together and create your own business, and a heck of a lot of work. So what inspired you? What was the why part of you creating your own business?
When I first got into this, because our business has grown over time, but when I first got into this, I had been involved with AMI for many years, and also with SCADA and OMS businesses as a vendor. I was always on the vendor side with companies like Westinghouse and Siemens. And when I looked at public power, it was an underserved community. And I kept thinking, they're buying these huge AMI systems at the time when I first started it. And the contracts that I saw that people were putting in place with them were totally one-sided. The contracts supported the vendor saying, yep, you're going to buy this system and we're going to walk away. And I kept thinking, my goodness, that's
sad, right?
awful.
Yeah,
That's just not what it should be. And so that's what we said, let's become an advocate to help utilities specify and acquire and contract with the vendors to get the systems and to make sure that their risks were as mitigated as they could possibly be. And I happen to have a fair bit of, one of those jack of all trades, master of none kind of guys. I had a pretty good amount of legal and financial and clearly a technical, I'm an engineer, expertise. And so we did this because we felt that there was a way to serve the public power community by giving them somebody that they could rely on that wasn't looking out for the vendors, that we were looking out for the utilities. And
that's what people need, because a lot of times municipal utilities don't talk to each other about vendors or about what technology worked for you. And so you bring that, because you've worked with so many utilities, you bring that to the table, not only as a leader, but as an innovator. And so that, I think, is part of your consistent success, right? So getting a little deeper into what you've already said, how have you built your team? What stands behind you in delivering high stakes projects for utilities all across the nation?
Well, what happened with us is basically we started doing our work, and I brought on another person that I knew from my early days in life, and he came on and helped me. And as we had more success,
right,
we had clients of ours or friends of ours who were utility employees say, "Hey, I'm retiring soon," or and a lot of our retarees, I think about these people that are retiring at 50 years old. So, hey, I love that idea. That's wonderful. I'm in on that. But we had a lot of people that wanted to join and support what we did that were utility employees, both municipal public power employees, cooperatives, combinations. And so our team is comprised now of people that have worked at the utilities. You say 47 years. I mean, I think that we've probably got 220 years of experience with our team, believe it or not. And we have experience in management, metering, operations, engineering at utilities. That's a wealth of information that they have. And one thing that our team is we are not a bunch of Harvard MBAs or whatever. We're frankly just people that have worked in the pits and in the trenches and understand what really happens and what kind of situations do we have with our clients that are wearing 16 hats on Tuesday and another 20 on another day. And so we get it, and our team is a bunch of committed individuals that Again, we may not be the strategic MBA visionaries in that regard, but we are pretty darn strong at making it work for what it needs to do.
Yeah, you're there when people need you for what they need you for, right? And
Yes.
that's great. Um, I wanted to talk about, when I talk to the affiliate members and the Joint Action Agency folks, they want to know what are the trends in the public power industry? What are the challenges that you're facing? How do you see this going in 5 to 10 years? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the current landscape in public power. And you sort of have a really unique, because of your team, because of your experience, a unique vantage point on the industry. Is there a trend that you're seeing right now that is having a direct impact on public power? And how is your team and KTI addressing it?
You know, trends in the industry right now, I mean, there are so many activities going on, power supply changes that are huge in the renewable world, migration of software to exclusively cloud-based applications, cybersecurity, data privacy, data security issues, drone-based applications. And the fact is, I don't see a single trend that is the one that I would focus on, but I would focus it this way, that the confluence of these trends, the combination of them, is reaching all of our clients, at least some of these. And so each of our clients is trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do about this? Because my customers are going from being, older, that all they want to do is come in and pay their bill with cash, to now all they want to do is use their phone.
Yeah.
So I've got a different kind of client base. And we've got a highly distributed activity. And so we want to worry about drones, but we don't know how to get that data integrated. And we put an AMI system in 10 years ago, and I still haven't gotten one piece of information out of it that I think is useful. And so the trends are that there are so many trends becoming, and they're just crushing people's, each trend becomes a different one. So what we try to do is make sense of that and understand what are the trends affecting your utility,
Yes.
and how do we have to wrestle with them? What are the strategic implications of these trends and of your own desires, your financial and reliability pieces, and how could we then make sense of all that? So the biggest single trend is the confluence of all the trends, is the way I look at it. And that's what we have to try and build on. And so that's what we're here for, is to help the utility understand which one of these trends is important to them and can they deal with, and which ones do we say, that's one that may be a flash in the pan for you because of this or that. So it's that confluence of a lot of things as opposed to a single one right now.
Yeah, multiple
Does that make
trends.
sense? Am I, okay.
Yeah, but like what you said, Greg, multiple trends, multiple problems, but not all of those trends or all of those issues are going to impact your utility. So it
Well,
has
and
a
yep,
tailored solution, which is what you specialize in.
actually, yeah, what happens in Minnesota is not what's necessarily happening in Florida or Alabama or, Oregon. I mean, so everybody's got a different situation and different set of factors affecting them.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. So, what I see sometimes is vendors trying to bundle solutions to these different trends or these different challenges. Is there a single red flag that municipal utilities should try and avoid when they're making a major technology switch or a major technology purchase?
Well, our experience is that the utilities tend to get caught up with the flashy thing that they hear about, or, well, my neighbor put this one in and he's having a lot of luck with that, or these guys have really good specs, I'm an engineer, or this one's cheaper and, I don't. So I think the utility that we deal with that have a challenge are the ones that don't look at it holistically. That, we are putting this new system in. I really have to be clear that any technology that is acquired in 2025 is going to be communicating with, through data exchanges, through real-time integrations, through information shared for its users with other systems. And so you cannot put a single system in now and not be concerned about what is the impact on other systems inside the utility and other people. And how do we get that go? And I think utilities don't look at this holistic view to understand what do they need to do to make sure that the system that they're acquiring is the best for them, given their infrastructure, given their people, given their customers, their stakeholders of that nature. And how do they make sure that they write the use cases that are needed to tell the vendor what is the ultimate goal, the desired result of this system, not just, I like your flashy whiz-bang feature, but
Yeah.
start with the end, with the desired result of what does this system need to do. And I don't think a lot of utilities do that. I think most utilities just say, hey, I need an AMI system, or I need an enterprise system, or an OMS system, and what's economical, what's my neighbor doing, and let's go with that.
What's the latest thing? Yeah, right. And that's
So-
an easy trap to fall into, right?
So I think that they're not consequent and holistic in what they do.
Yes, that's fair. That triggered something else in my mind was, you put in a new technology, but does that impact the governance, the reporting, the political dynamics of a technology project for a municipal utilities board or their council? Are those things that you can help them work through?
Well, when we do our technology planning, one of the elements is governance. And so a governance process is an important piece from our perspective,
Right.
so that the utility understands. And there are a lot of utilities we deal with. I was just on the road yesterday at a very large utility in the southeast, and very siloed. This group does this, and this person says, I hand that data off, and I don't care. I don't know what happens. I don't care what happens. And we have to help. And governance is one of those things that brings up that thought process of collaborative, shared dynamics and understanding. And that governance is an important piece. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
No, that
that's
does.
my response to what you asked, and I hope that that's close to what you were getting at.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, in terms of collaborative, of all of Hometown Connections partners, Katama Technologies is probably the most collaborative, right? Collaborative not only with the affiliates and in sharing knowledge of what worked for other utilities, but collaborative with other partners. So,
Yes.
to your credit, I have to say, Greg, you truly understand why Katama Technologies is a trusted partner, a vetted partner for Hometown Connections. And if utilities are looking to ensure their next technology investment is long-term success story, then I think Katama Technologies is clearly the objective expert that a city utility or a municipally owned utility would need, right? I just have
Thank you.
one, it's true. I just have one final question I want to wrap up with, and that's because you have such a long dedicated career space, and when you're completely removed from utilities and all the work that you do, you're one of the most traveling people I've ever met. Always busy. Is there anything you do, like hobbies or things you need to decompress? Is it the ocean? Is it, I don't know, hockey, tennis? Do you collect anything?
Well, we live on a lake, and so I do love to go boating. But the one thing I end up collecting mostly when I'm not working and traveling for customers is traveling and vacationing with my wife. We love to go places. So if I'm not traveling for business, I'm traveling for life. I mean, just
So you really
I've
love it then.
done it
Wow.
all my life, and I just don't have any intentions of not doing it, at least as long as my health will stick around and let me do it. I love traveling, but I like to cook and I like to boat. I mean, those would be the two things besides that with my family.
Yeah, you're a
Um,
lucky man to live on the lake and
oh, I know.
be able to have your family there. I mean, you're
Yeah.
very lucky. Well, um, thank you very much, Greg, today for I feel like today we've discussed why and what the Katama difference is from other vendors. And thank you for sharing your deep expertise. I was wondering, with your commitment to the public power community, is there anything you want to leave us with or any words of wisdom that you'd like to share? Just a final word, maybe?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank you and thank Hometown for everything you do. And the public power community is a wonderful community. And I just think I've been the most rewarding experience for me for the last 20 years that I've been doing this is to work with agencies and entities and people that are so darn dedicated to what they do, their craft. And I just want to thank everybody for all their efforts and dedication to what they do. It's really rewarding to see.
And we want to thank you, Greg, for showing up today and helping us. And I also wanted to talk about, how you can find out more information about Katama Technologies. Again, vetted by us, Hometown Connections, for financial, managerial, and product expertise. And if you'd like to reach out directly to Greg and his team, you can visit them on katama.com. That's KATAMATECT.com. And you can reach Greg directly at 704-225-7864. Again, that's 704-225-7864. Thank you again, Greg, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.